What's up, everybody? This is Eric Lindsay at Prosthetic Artist in Sacramento, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about how I ended up becoming an ocularist. One of the questions I get asked the most, almost on a daily basis, is how on earth are you so good looking? No, besides that, how on earth did you find yourself in this field, which is so strange, so unusual? Typically I give the quick version because I'm doing it every day, but on this video I want to give the whole story of how I became an ocularist and if it's possible for anyone to become an ocularist. So I'll start at the beginning. For as long as I can remember, I have been drawing and painting. I've been an artist. I studied art in junior high, I studied art in high school, I did the advanced placement art and did well in my portfolio. I then went to study fine arts. I went to a few different schools. I started at Brigham Young University for a year. Then I went and lived in Brazil for 2 years as a missionary. And then I came home. I went to Cal State Long Beach and started studying fine arts and planned to eventually do animation, illustration, or work for Hollywood, work for the movies in some capacity. Growing up in Southern California, it seemed like a good course of action for me. So it was always my dream to go and work at Disney, work at Warner Brothers, to somehow make a career out of art. And then I'm graduating from school. I was getting my degree in sculpture because I ended up spending a year in Florence at the Academy of Fine Arts, and I got a ton of sculpture credits while I was there and ended up changing my major to sculpture and graduated the following year. I graduated in 2003 from Cal State Long Beach with my fine arts degree in sculpture. And my father-in-law, hearing that, said it was a useless major. I can't disagree, but it did help me find the field of facial prosthetics, which is what I was truly interested in. I thought that putting someone's face back together would be the coolest way to use my art. And I started doing research. I emailed everybody I could find. I went all over the internet. I applied to a graduate school program in Chicago. It's called Biomedical Visualization at the University of Illinois in Chicago. Fantastic program. It's still there. And I was all set to go get my master's degree, and at the same time I was offered an apprenticeship as an ocularist here in Sacramento with Philip Dans. And Philip Dans was a fourth generation ocularist. His pedigree goes all the way back to a little town in Germany called Lauscha, where they started making glass eyes. His great-grandfather, his grandfather, his father, himself, his two brothers, they were all prosthetic eye makers. And I was fortunate enough to find Mr. Dans, and he was intrigued. He saw my fine art portfolio and flew me up to Sacramento from Orange County for an interview. I spent a day observing Mr. Dans, seeing what he did, and I was hooked. I was fascinated. So graduation came, I moved to Sacramento, packed up the few possessions that I had, and I got an apartment in Sacramento and began my apprenticeship at 25 years old. The apprenticeship that we follow is 10,000 hours, it's 5 years, and it's a curriculum that is promoted and offered by the American Society of Ocularists, which is an educational society that whose goal it is to educate and train board certified ocularists. And membership is pretty small. There's around 300 or so, I believe. And so every 6 months we get together, take some tests, take my experience level exams, and continue this process of learning on the job. I'll forever be grateful to Philip Dans for giving me this opportunity. Fantastic guy, really loved what he did, really cared about his patients. He's one of the best in the world, and I'm fortunate to have learned from him. 2008 rolls around and I finished my apprenticeship, and Mr. Dans was ready to retire, so I bought his business from him. He's happily retired, and here we are today. So the question then I get often is, can anybody become an ocularist? And I believe if you are determined enough, yes. I look for certain qualities in someone when I go to hire someone. The ability to see and reproduce from life, the ability to draw and paint very fine details, and the timing has to be perfect. If you want an apprenticeship, you have to find a master ocularist who is willing to hire you, train you, invest in you for the next 5 years, and potentially train his competition, his or her competition. So it's not an easy field to get into. There are very few people who do it, and often it's very family-centered business. You'll see a lot of third, fourth generation ocularists. It's not uncommon. So that's my story. That's how I became an ocularist. That's how I do what I do. I love what I do. I'm so blessed and so fortunate that I get to do this every day. I get to use my talent for art and design to help people put together after they've had a tragedy. So it really is something that I love to do, and I'm very grateful I get to do it. And I hope this answers any questions you might have, and if you have any more questions, leave me some comments below. Thanks very much.